welcome to the next episode of It's Your Time to Shine, a podcast about being a mom in a modern world. My name is Juspreet Kaur, and with me is my friend Lisa Bora.
Hey, Jess. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Lisa?
Good. Tired. We were painting this weekend, so.
Oh, nice. You were doing it yourself?
Yeah, it was just one wall. I tried to make it like it was a bigger deal. We were painting the whole house. Just one wall, one room, but still. And you know what? I didn't even paint. Samir did. I just said I'm tired.
So you supervised painting and you're really tired?
I supervised painting and I did the bigger job. I supervised the child while he was painting.
Aww.
So yeah.
I love it when moms take the time to babysit. It's really cute.
I know, right? So rare.
I have been making it a point to, whenever I need to maybe leave work or take the day off or something, to take care of my kids or to pick them up. I've been calling it babysitting because I work with a bunch of guys who call it babysitting, and I think it's very ironic.
They still actually do that?
They do, wow. And I think there's an aspect of like humor to it. Like I think it's meant to be a joke, but they continue to do it. And so I've started doing it as well. Mm-hmm. And people will call me out on it, but they don't call the guys out on it. The irony is being lost because I say it to be ironic against their sarcasm, but I get called out for it. And every time it happens, all of us laugh.
Oh, that's so funny. So you're just taking it to a level that no one will ever get. That's the problem. So it's just,
I don't know.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. But I actually I've actually had multiple women pull me aside and say, like, hey, it's not babysitting, it's parenting.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, no, it's not. And I say like, no, I'm a full-time working mom. And so it's babysitting for me.
Do you just keep going with it?
Yeah, I keep going with it.
I can imagine your straight face. And then they're just waiting for you to laugh and you don't laugh because I know you.
Yeah, next thing you know, they're going to call me calm and collected. So it's been funny. Anyway, you were supervising painting, mm-hmm. And is the project complete?
Well, the project's complete. Now we got to get our bed back, and move everything around. So try to do that later this week. But yeah, project's done. It looks really good. I'm very excited.
Oh, that's awesome. Fresh coat of paint makes things feel fresh again.
And little things get me so excited. Like we're going to go buy pictures for the wall to like really warm up the room. And I'm like counting down to like the weekend until we can go buy pictures.
Oh, if only there was a way to like sit in your living room and look at something like remotely and purchase things and then have them delivered to your house.
Well, yeah, that's when I say we're going to go look for them, I mean online. No one's walking to the store. Jeez.
Really? You have an online shopping date over the weekend? That's awesome.
Yes, and I'm very excited about it. All right?
I'm excited for you too.
And I'm taking you for face value. I'm going to ignore the tone of sarcasm there. So
there's no sarcasm in my voice at all right now. Just the words of a wise babysitting mom.
And supervising.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we had a really great weekend too. I actually want to share something with you. Okay, so on Friday, I got a group text and it was sent by one of our friends. She was in San Antonio when she was doing her PhD or maybe some postdoc work, and then later moved to Philly. And we've kind of kept in touch with her whenever we go to the East Coast. We'll try to, see them and catch up with them. And so she sends this message and she's like, hey, San Antonio friends, I have a friend who's coming to town. He was a graduate assistant. He's really awesome. And he's got 6 weeks off from graduation to when he starts his new job. And he's driving across the country. And so he's coming to stay in San Antonio, just needs a place to stay. Can anybody help him out? And so like someone wrote back immediately like, yes, he can stay with us. And something happened that fell through. They had other guests coming through. And so she sent me a text and she was like, hey, can he come stay with you guys? And I said, sure. And then I was like, 3 questions. So my first question was, is he a serial killer?
Legit.
My second question, yes. My second question was, does he have any dietary restrictions? Mm-hmm. And my third question was, how many nights does he want to stay with us? And she said, he doesn't have any dietary restrictions, and I'm not sure about if he's a serial killer. Do you want me to ask him? And then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, it's probably more important to know how many nights he wants to stay with us, because we're good like for 2 nights, and then we have plans to possibly be out of town on the third day. And so she was kind of laughing, and I was like, the truth is like, hosting a vegan is as difficult as hosting a serial killer in some ways, right?
Yeah, I've hosted a vegan before. Oh, wow. Try to get a recipe and it's basically you may as well just give them, popcorn.
Yeah, but it has to be popcorn not popped in butter, which is how we pop our popcorns.
Oh, that too. See, I can't win. I will never. I can't do it. I can't. We just went to a
Yeah.
restaurant that had a vegan menu. Boom, everyone's happy.
Oh, that's nice. So we ended up meeting him downtown in this really fun like outdoor marketplace on Friday night, got to know him, and he was telling us his story about he graduated with a master's in public history, and he has this idea to like build an app where he could tell people about history on the side of the road. And it's just such a wonderful idea. And then he also mentioned like he's been driving around and mostly using Airbnb, connecting with friends, like how he connected with us, friends of friends. And he's just kind of like going where the road will take him, like stopping, pulling over when he wants to pull over. He has like all of his personal belongings in the back of his
Oh, wow.
car, and he's driving around. And it was so nice. And so we were just having dinner. It was like me and Padam and our family, and then two of our friends, husband and wife, and their kids. So the kids were all playing together, and then this guy. And I said to him, like, how wonderful is it to just be like young and open mind, open heart, like to the world. You know, you just go into a town. Like he was like, I went into New Orleans and I wanted to watch a football, like a soccer match. And I sat at a bar, watched the match, made some friends. They told me like some of the cool places to hang out. I hung out with them for 3-4 hours. And then I got in the car and drove to San Antonio. Now I'm hanging out with you guys.
Wow, what a life.
I know. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, you hear about it like in a tell-all book later in life, but you actually never meet people like that.
No. And the thing is like, and why? Like, why aren't we like that? You know, I
Right.
mean, I know why I'm not like that. It's like I work in a corporate environment.
Yeah, we have our attachments.
Yeah. I have my TPS reports. I have kids that need to get to soccer games, and, you know, there's a bake sale on Thursday. I need to bake cookies for it.
Right.
Like these are the things that I spend my time on, but it was super inspirational, and I don't know, it just made me really happy.
How old is this guy?
The guy was 25.
Okay, so young. Okay.
Yeah, pretty young. And you know, another thing about him was that he didn't take his phone out once.
Oh, I love this guy.
Yeah, he was just really cool.
You never see that because I pay attention to that.
I know. It's probably interesting for someone like me to say that because I take a lot of pictures. I think you know that about me. Like
Right.
someone's like, oh, when did this happen? I'm like, here, since I don't have a good memory, I often will compensate for it by taking a lot of pictures. And I justify myself by saying that, you know, I'm a fairly decent photographer. And so I'm like, oh, but I'm getting a cool shot, you know?
No, your pictures are good. Yeah, no, they're very good.
Yeah, thank you. But you know, the truth is like every little moment takes away from being present in the moment. And so I just felt like so rejuvenated having spent time with him. And it made me think about like connections and how we able to connect, and do we live in a world where it's easier to close yourself off? And when I say close off, I mean both like heart and mind.
Right.
So I was kind of thinking about that and thinking about in the context of parenting, which is something that I often think about. What does that mean, right?
Well, I think it's a lot harder to connect in this day and age than ever because of the technical connections that we have. Like you just said, the phone, we're constantly on our phones and we're not living in our present. So I think it's actually the hardest time to connect with people.
Yeah, I think it can be really difficult. I went to a human-centered design class a few weeks ago. So it's basically the idea that anything that we do when we're creating products and services, they should be focused on how humans naturally interact rather than getting people to work in a specific way. We should understand human behavior. And so this was something that I attended for work, since I do a lot of like experience creation for new products and services.
Right.
But the designer shared like a really interesting study with me. She said that there was a study that was published last year that they had random people come in that did not know each other and make eye contact with one another and try to establish a connection. And what they found was in the control group, they had nothing in the room, just a table with nothing on it, and then two chairs facing each other. They're not even sitting at the table. And then in the experimental group, they had the two people sitting at the chair, sitting in their chairs facing each other. And then they had a table off to the side with a cell phone on it. It wasn't either person's phone. The phone wasn't on. It was just sitting there. And what they found was the people with the phone just in the room, even without interaction, had more trouble connecting.
Yeah, because of the thought of hearing a beep or something happening. Like your brain probably just starts to go into whatever's happening outside of this room because the phone represents that. That would be my guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like fascinating.
I'm not surprised. Even the book that I mentioned a few weeks ago, Reclaiming Conversation, actually talked about that too. Like when people are out dinner and all, even having the phone on the table is taking you away from your present.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
I actually try to, and again, thank you to the book because I wasn't like that, not have my phone on me. Everything that ever comes through is silent except for anything related to Alyssa.
Yeah, that's my thing too. I can't put my phone too far away because I have all these little people that I want and need for them to be able to communicate with me. I think kids and parents, right? We're at that age now. We kind of need to be open to both. But yeah, so it just got me thinking about like connections and for our children, like what is it going to be like for them? Because we remember a time where phones were not as accessible to everyone.
Right.
They just represented the act of speaking, but not so much like the ability to Google everything and anything or have Spotify or SoundCloud on it. And
Right.
what does that mean for our kids? Like, will they adapt? Will they live in a different world? And will they be open to just making connections? Like, I've just been kind of like toiling with those thoughts for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a clear answer to that, because it's also your child, their temperament as well. There's so many factors. But I think that, at least in your case, for sure, your children witnessing their environment. So witnessing mom and dad talking, mom and dad connecting, witnessing their parents connecting with other people, I think that's all going to help them. So I think it starts from your own behavior. I'm not saying it'll be a perfect result, but it's a starting point.
Right.
So I try to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think like you're saying like modeling that behavior, like the willingness to open up.
Exactly. And I try to do the same thing all the time. And I guess in my mind, I'm thinking the more she witnesses, the more she sees how, at least at that moment, if I'm feeling centered, she will sense that centered energy and at least have some sort of gauge one day of what that's supposed to feel like. You know, that subwoofer feeling that you get when you're connecting with someone that you truly feel like you're on the same page in every aspect. So if she's around that, it witnesses it. And of course she's around it with mom and dad. I'm not saying this is ideal for me to think, but she's less likely to be as attached to the other connections, which is, getting a like for her picture or group chats and getting the validation that she wants, the ha-ha, stuff like that, where I don't think that's a connection. That's more like a temporary high feeling that we get addicted to.
Well, I think so. Okay, so that's interesting. So I mostly agree with you, but I also feel like having that connection is also a dopamine hit.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I'm just saying, just to find more positive ways to get, that dopamine release. Meeting people with that subwoofer feeling, that's the ultimate dopamine hit.
I love the fact that you said that subwoofer feeling because I call it, in my mind, I call it like the bass.
Right. Oh, that's so funny. So, yeah.
Yeah. And which is similar.
Yes.
Like I think we're on the same frequency, literally, pun intended.
We are.
But because the bass is an instrument that not many people will ever say like, hey, guess what? I play the bass. People play the guitar, or they play the drums, or they sing. And the bass is like so important. And in Punjabi music, there is the tabla. The bass is the tabla, right? It's like a percussion, but it also has a bass function to it. And things don't sound good without a bass. Like you need that underlying beat.
It connects it all. It connects all the other instruments, the bass.
Yes. It keeps everyone together. So that's like that's really cute. I just love that. We're like kind of vibing on that. Yeah, so as I'm thinking about this and like this concept of keeping your heart open, I have thought about how, there are more and more cases where people say, I've achieved so much like from a work perspective or an academic perspective,
Right.
but I'm missing something in my life. Like I struggle to find someone like in terms of a partner to spend my life with, or even more basically, just like to find a friend, kind of find a best friend. We were talking about this last week a little bit in the sense of what does it take to make a friend, and how do you,
Right.
create relationships? Is it just time? Is there connections?
I think if your heart is open, you will attract those connections.
But this concept of like being open, I think, is something that society is making very difficult for us. Like in the world that we are very clear on our views, and are we on the left side or the right side? What's our opinion on everything? Every social issue we have like an opinion on, right? How do we kind of bridge that gap and be open? And is it something that we can even control? Or is it random? Like, does the universe bring us the connections that we need? I wonder, because we have connections, and I've had like some connections with people that are just so immediate and so quick and so soulful, if I
Right.
can use like a Lisa word for it. But then it's so strong that I immediately, like, the other part of my brain is like, whoa, this isn't right. And I've like felt like I need to put the brakes on it, because it's just like too much of a connection. And so when that happens, I don't even know, like, is that society telling me like, oh, it's too strong? Or is it my inner being that's telling me that it's too strong? And I know I'm not, I can give you an example, but maybe I'm not making sense.
So no, but so I can't. I don't not have an answer to that. But I will tell you, at least for me, I've had those very intense connections myself. Maybe it's for me to feel better about the fact that they're not in my life anymore, or it never really, became anything more than that. But I actually do believe that there are just some connections out there. They're almost too strong for your everyday life. They don't transition into everyday life.
So like maybe you think they're helping you at a certain time and then they fade away?
So I think that the moment it happens, it was supposed to happen, because I think that type of intense connection helps the universe. And that's my general philosophy on life, is to, what can we do to give to the universe to bring the energy level up, right? So those relationships, I think, and those moments when they're the most intense, I think it's really helping the universe. I will never say it's over, because I think also thinking about those moments and having a memory of those moments, or even dreaming about those moments. I don't know about you, but I always, every few months, have dreams about certain soul connections. And I feel like that is also helping the energy of the universe. So it has its place and continues to, but it's not part of my everyday life.
Yeah, that's really profound. I'm going to think about that a little bit more, because that is interesting. And I think I've had some experiences like that. Like, I remember some of the very strong connections I had with people who are very influential on me when I took steps towards becoming an Amritari Sikh. And that was like at the end of college, I think, like maybe my maybe a senior year of college, and when I graduated.
Yeah, I remember.
And you're right, like those types of strong spiritual influences, it would be too emotionally exhausting for me to have maintained like a friendship with them over the years. But I have that sentimental like connection to them. And I'll sometimes hear the names of people who are like, like the girl who gave me my first dastad was a lady that lived out in Houston. I'll always remember her. Like, I'll always remember her name. I'll always remember like how simply she was like, here, you can have these 3 dastars from me and just practice.
Yeah, they served their purpose.
Yeah, it had such a profound effect on who I am. And yet I didn't have to maintain the relationship with them.
So I guess in my own way, I do kind of maintain some deep connections I've had. I have this thing called Cosmic Book. So I have certain friendships there. It sounds so cheesy, doesn't it?
Wait, is this like an actual... No, it sounds awesome. Is it an actual thing or...
No, I made it up. It's for me. I call it Cosmic Book for me. Obviously, I'm taking the words off of Facebook by saying it, but it's my Cosmic Book account.
And is it a physical book? Do you write stuff in it? Is it just mental?
I actually have bought a book, and I've started writing a little bit about these people. I haven't gotten to the point where I've actually put it all together. And maybe because somewhere I think maybe there's no need. I don't know, right? I don't really need... It's all part of who I am, and these people are still a part of me. Like you said, they serve their purpose, and then they also continue to, because they are still a part of you. And that's why I have this Cosmic Book account, because if I want to, I feel I can always have a conversation with them.
That is so cool. That's awesome.
And that's just me. I mean, this is getting a little wacky, but but spiritually, I believe in that. I mean, maybe on some level I'm attached, and it's not a good thing either. It's actually not. So I'm not sitting here saying, "Look at me, everything's great, and I'm gonna, be one with the universe one day because I did it right." It's probably just my attachment, and I can't let go, and this is the way I do it.
Well, I mean, I think like from a sick perspective, attachment's not always a bad thing. Like attachment is actually one of the 5 vices, so it is a bad thing.
Right.
But it's also not a bad thing in the sense that attachment with a lower A can bring you closer to things. So you can have an attachment to goodness or an attachment to community service, right? And so it's kind of like replacing the attachments one with another. So I think it's fascinating. I don't think anything's wacky. I hope you know that about me.
I know you don't.
And I also think like, how have we never talked about this? Like we've been friends for almost 20 years. And this is the first time we're talking about like this cosmic book and these soul connections.
Oh, that's because I started it yesterday. I'm just kidding. I was just taking the wacky out of this. I still think, just to bring it back to your first point, is by doing this cosmic book thing, maybe it has its positives, but I also think it can close up your heart. Because then you're so attached to these people who aren't even part of your life anymore. So, do you see what I'm saying? So it has both sides. Like I'm saying, whatever it is that I'm doing isn't like, everyone do this. This will work.
Well, it's like a little bit of like soulful experimentation, right? So we could try it and see how it works for us, or even like if I were to start a cosmic book, who would be in there? Like that would be really insightful.
Well, that is one thing I actually ask people. I always ask people, and when I ask people, I mean, you're just sitting around at work. If you had, and you don't have to answer this question, but just to think about, it's kind of a way to gauge your relationships, because many times we're just friends with people today just because it's convenient, right? Same age kids, blah, blah. We've been friends for so long.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But would you really, if you had to only pick, I'm not even going to say 5, 3 people in your life today that walk into a room and it's the first time you're meeting them, what 3 people would you want to be with? Now, this doesn't have to be like a deep connection, just like someone you truly like conversing with. What 3 people would you want to talk to?
Wow. I feel like that's like such a test because one, it's 3 people and I have 3 kids and I also have a husband. So right there, I have to eliminate someone.
Family not included. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that.
I don't include Samir in any of this, obviously, because I'm married to one of my soulmates. You're married to one of your soulmates, So I'm talking about other relationships.
You know what I love about you? You just said I'm married to one of my soulmates. And like this concept of having more than one soulmate just makes my heart happy and kind of validates like part of what I believe and what I feel. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, are you getting that subwoofer bass feeling? Because I am right now.
I am. And the other thing is, if I think about like 3 people that I would just spend my life with, like I have to admit, like one of them's you.
Yeah, me too.
Goes without saying.
Yeah.
And then another one of them is like someone I don't even know that well that I just met a few months ago and I just have fun talking to. Like I just think it's fun.
There you go. Doesn't the answer surprise you, right?
Yeah, it's weird because it's not heavy, it's not deep. It's to quote him, it's someone who like has a deep appreciation for music, art, and poetry. Mm-hmm. And those are like 3 really nice to haves for me.
Yeah, you get a sense of you will pick people that bring your energy level up, just like this guy.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Gosh, I'm mind blown right now. So I'm like struggling to string sentences together, which doesn't happen for me often. So a reason I definitely need you in my life.
Oh my God, this is so refreshing. Please continue. Pick random words. Put them together. It'll work. You know why? Because it's you.
Please continue to fail at speaking at your first language, which is English, guys, by the way.
See, you still didn't fail. All right, anyway.
To go back to, although I haven't written poetry in a long time, but I am exposed to like a lot of old Punjabi poetry, which is super beautiful, almost always bittersweet, almost always like heroine and hero get separated and someone dies, a lot of like Romeo and Juliet type themes. And I try to share them with my kids, goes over their head. And then they are listening to like young Punjabi artists and they're talking about how they don't have streaks on Snapchat. And I'm like, okay, there's like a divide here on like what I really want you to learn about the world.
I don't even know what streaks on Snapchat was until you told me a few weeks ago, but I get it.
My kids, like, there's a new song out called Phone by Mickey Singh, and he's a young artist. He has a beautiful voice. And like one of his lines is like, Snapchat the Kadiandine. And I'm like, really? Like, this is the bar. Here I am like talking about epic love stories, like, Hiranja. And
Right.
you're talking about Snapchat streaks. Like, help me
Yeah, that's
out,
funny.
people. So any young, influential Punjabi artists that might be listening to our podcast, please, can we go a little deeper and make Juspreet's job a little bit easier?
It's actually that's funny because all the really deep stuff, look at it. In the end, they're always separated. Soulful connections at their deepest level are never together, at least according to all these old poetry and all the old stories.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, that is. Oh, dang, girl, you just got deep. I think that's a perfect place to pause. Let our listeners kind of think about their soulful connections. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.